Hey, what is up, everyone? All right, this is the final of this cover. I will give you a quick once over of the piece, and then we'll talk shop. So yeah, if this is the first video that you're watching of this, the original pencils ended up getting lost in FedEx, and so luckily John Romita Jr. had snapped a photograph of the piece in his hotel room before he shipped it out. And technology being what it is, I stretched the photo out big size, comic book board size. It was a low res photo too. It was 72 DPI. It was not great. And yeah, I turned it blue, very very light blue. And you can see all the steps. I created a playlist. I'll have a link in the description below for it. But yeah, you can watch kind of the whole process. I'll go over tools and all that stuff in a minute. But yeah. So let's take in. There's no splatter on this. All that little white stuff is, I go in with a Crow nib and white, and I just go in and actually draw the white. Okay, so tools. Like Swamp Thing was all inked with Crow nib. It's not a Hunt 102. I honestly don't know the name of the nib. It's nothing fancy. I could have got the same result with a Hunt 102, but just I had this other nib that I've been using for a few days, and just kind of went with it. It was interesting. There was a conversation that Norm Ratman, he had ordered some inking supplies, and he had a whole bunch of boxes of Hunt 102 Crowquill nibs that came in for him, and that is definitely my main Crowquill nib that I use. And he was saying that he goes through like a few a day. I can't remember how many it was, but I mean, like a Crowquill nib will last me literally like a month. I have a pretty light touch, but I definitely don't baby the nibs. I mean, I dig in hard and throw some pretty crazy like lines and stuff, but I'm pretty aware of the metal of the nib and what it's doing, and yeah, I can really make them last. So I mean, it's kind of crazy because we had that conversation, I'm gonna guess 6 or 7 months ago. I think I've used maybe 5 nibs since then, and I ink all the time. That was another thing I was gonna say is, I know that like when I show a video like this piece seems maybe like a bigger deal than it is, and it is a big deal because it's a cover for metal, and it's John Romita Jr. and all that good stuff. But you have to understand, I do probably, I don't even know, over 300 pieces a year. So, although, you know, it's easy to focus on this one because this is what I shared. I mean, this is just another day or a day and a half of my life. And I mean, even since I've worked on this, I've done probably 10 pieces. So, it's like on with the show. You just go and you do it. So, I did use brush for the tree. So these tree effects that you see is brush. I use a Winsor Newton Series 7 number 3 generally. Sometimes I'll use a 2, but I think my main brush right now is a 3. I mean, if it's working good, I don't even really care. I had a 4, again, Series 7, Winsor Newton number 4, and I used that brush for probably 2 years. It was great, and it ultimately died in my backpack more than from being used, because I would never even put it in like a plastic holder, and I think it got broke. Like the wood actually broke in my backpack one time. But yeah, I mean, I don't really baby my tools too much, but I'm more respectful of them now because I'm working at home. I want to make this stuff last, and also the stuff isn't traveling. Whereas, sometimes when I worked at Wildstrom, I'd pack my backpack at home, throw stuff in, head to the office, and, get down to business. But I think overall, this piece actually turned out really, really nice. John throws some pretty challenging techniques into his work that I kind of mentioned. They're pretty forgiving in pencil, but if you go in and you ink them wrong or choose the wrong line weights or the wrong sort of approach, they can look real weird real fast. So I mean, I did the best that I could under the circumstances of a rendering technique that he applied to the trees and stuff. And and you can kind of see, like, if you look back at the older video, like, I had kind of put suggestions of this grassy stuff on top of Swamp Thing and kept little bits and pieces of kind of John's original sketches in there. I like to do that with pencilers, you know, like their early strokes and stuff that they throw in. If I think that they look cool, I'll actually kind of force them into the drawing, regardless of if they wanted them or not. It's probably the kiss of death. I don't even know. But no, you know, like if I see something that looks good that they had sketched in and maybe we're a little tentative on, you know, I'll usually bring it back around and make sure that it's there. So anyway, yeah, really fun piece to do. It was nice to, you know, ink another John Romita Jr. piece. It had been, I don't even know, 3 months or something since I'd inked anything of his. So it was cool, nice surprise. There's no indication that we're doing anything more together, so that's fine too. I can get back to what I was working on, and you know, you just roll with it, yo. Whatever comes your way. So people were asking about ink and white ink, what I use. I use Koh-i-Noor, which is Kohinor. I think it's O-R. Is it double O? Let me look. I have bottles of ink right here, right? Oh, I have a technique. N-O-O-R. Yes, I use their Ultra Draw, and then for white paint, I use... I used to use Pro White. I don't anymore. I use this. It's super opaque white by Holbein. Great stuff. I love it. It's like, I think, an airbrush ink. But I'm down. Holbein loves me too. The owner of the company. I met him, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, and I showed him my black drawing stuff, and he was really excited. Gave me a bunch of free supplies. He's a very cool dude. You know, they sort of represent Alex Ross and, you know, get him all of his gouaches and stuff that he uses. But yeah, the guy's been really not only accommodating to me, but very generous. So, you know, honestly, the stuff is great. If he wants to endorse me, I'm down. But again, I mean, I approached him more as an artist, or, you know what I mean, like based on my own illustrations and not so much the comic work. I don't even know if he's ever seen any of the comic stuff that I've done, but you know, I use the supplies for that too. But just the white. But I have a ton of his paints. So yeah, very cool. It was fun to do this. Really appreciate you know, John Romita Jr. and DC having the faith in me to approach this, and especially under the circumstances that ultimately unfolded for us, was not what I was expecting in terms of the piece going missing. Still has not been found. You know, so this is a 2-ply smooth Bristol that I printed it on. It's just the DC board. I generally will flip it over, but if you look on the back, like, it's just this. I don't really like all the indicia and stuff like that. I template my interior pages. On covers, you don't need to do it. But usually what I'll do now is, like, I would scan this at 600 DPI, full size, and for coloring, generally they reduce it 70%. So just, you know, you would go into image size and then reduce it to 70%. That's usually what it's colored from, but I usually will save 100% file also. Okay, so there you go. It's the final on this. You know, thanks for hanging in there and watching it unfold and all that. And then, you know, the only other thing I was thinking is people were asking, you know, like, why don't you show process videos? I will. You know, personally, I would rather show stuff that I'm penciling and inking, you know, and maybe even original content. So I try not to drag, like, the people that I sort of work with into my YouTube channel as much as possible, just because, you know, it's not like, I don't know, John Romita Jr. is an example. I don't even really think he's online. So, you know, I try to show a bit of the work that I do with them, but in general, if I'm going to be doing tutorials and stuff like that, I just don't feel comfortable using, 1, DC's characters, 2, using someone else's pencils to show it off. So, you know, I do these and try to give just insight into the approaches. But yeah. When I start doing a lot of, like, me working videos, will just be on my stuff. So that could either be good for people or bad. However you want to look at it. We'll see where it all goes. Maybe it'll be great. Maybe it will suck. All right, anyway, cool. Have a good one. This video is 10 minutes. We are out of here. All right, I think it worked. And you can find the colors of it online, see what the colorist did, Dean White. Yeah, there you go. Metal #2 variant cover, John Romita Jr., Richard Friend inks. And it was fun. Okay, bye.